Hey guys, it's Tom here from Elevate Digital and I'm back for Marketing Q&A Live. Excited to be doing this. Haven't done a Marketing Q&A Live for a while now. So super excited to get stuck in answering some of your questions, some of the common questions that we often get asked and helping you guys out wherever we can really. So if you're joining on the live, let me know in the comments, give this video a like and feel free to drop any of your questions you have in the comments and I will do my best to get them answered live. I have some questions that I've had over the past couple of weeks, some things that I'm going to dive into in a bit more detail. But as I say, if you do have any questions that come up throughout and you are joining this live, feel free to drop them in the comments and ask away. We will also be uploading the recordings of these videos as well. So if you are watching this on the replay, feel free to either message me or again, drop a message in the comments and I will pick those up and I will do my best to get them answered next week. Because exciting news, if you didn't see the announcement, I am going to be doing these Marketing Q&A lives every Friday now at 1 p.m. UK time. So yeah, going to aim to get as many of your questions answered as possible and bring you guys as much value as we possibly can to really help take your, your marketing and your results from your marketing to the next level. So let's get into it. So first question that I had that comes up quite a lot, to be fair, is what's the best platform to use right now to promote my services? Now, this is an interesting question, and I think it's important to frame this first before we get into the kind of nuances of any particular social platform, to really frame it with the way we look at social media and the way we treat social media. Because I think a lot of businesses dive into social media and they expect it to be some way that they can just post statuses and post updates or cool pictures or whatever, and then get leads and sales for their business, right? That's just simply not how social media works, at least not anymore, right? We see so many adverts and marketing messages on a daily basis. Like most of them, we tend to just skim over them, unless it's extremely relevant to us. So the best way I can explain this, there was a really good quote, and I think it might have been Russell Brunson or Perry Belcher, someone that was saying this, but they were basically saying to think of social media as if social media is almost like a party, right? If you're at a party with people, you're not just going to go up to random people you don't know, or maybe you do know them slightly, but just tell them all about you, right? And just like promote all of the stuff that you're selling. You just wouldn't do that. You'd probably get kicked out of the party. So instead of using it just as a billboard and as a platform, use it to meet people, use it to engage with people, to start discussions, start interesting discussions, have fun, right? Like that's when we're at a party, we're there to have fun, right? We're there to engage, we're there to meet other people, to connect with people. We're not just there to walk around with a billboard strapped to us saying buy now. Right, but that's how a lot of businesses are using social media, and that's where they're quite frankly going wrong with it. So really think about this, like think of social media as if it was a party, right? You then want to invite people, I'm sure it was maybe Perry Belcher or someone that said this, but he said then think about inviting them to your house afterwards, right? And that's maybe your profile or your landing page or your website where you have a bit more information about you and the services that you offer, right? But you wouldn't necessarily go into that while you're at the party. Your stage there is just to connect with people and to make friends and to meet people, to have fun, to have discussions around, whatever topic or industry you're in, to be relatable. Right, so it's changing the way you think about social media first and foremost is the most important thing, because this applies to any platform. No matter what platform you are on, it's all about that engagement, that discussion, speaking to people. It's not just about being a billboard and just posting stuff out there. So really, really get clear on that and think about that. The next stage I would say is, and this applies to pretty much anything in marketing, but it's really going to come down to your customer audience. Like really think about who your audience is. Who are those people that you really serve and that you are looking to serve? Like who is your perfect customer? You know, if you can get results for something, like if you look at your customers at the moment, like who do you get the best results for? Who do you most enjoy working with or serving? And really keep that person like front of mind. Like think about where they're hanging out online. What kind of platforms are they on? And then meet them there. You know, there's all this talk of, oh, you need to be on this platform or that platform. But honestly, if your customers aren't on there, there's no point wasting your time on it. So don't stretch yourself thin to be on all of these platforms if you know your customers aren't on those platforms yet. So always start with your audience in mind and think about, where are my particular customers hanging out online? Where are they spending most of their time online? And also coming back to that discussion piece and the engagement piece, what kind of things are they talking about, right? Instead of me coming in and just, you know, selling my own agenda, what's the discussions that are happening within these communities, within my target audience right now? How can I meet them where they're at? So that's really, really important to think about when you're doing any kind of, you know, marketing or just general engagement on social media. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Hopefully that's clear. Again, let me know in the comments if you've got any questions throughout this, or if you've got any specific questions you wanted to ask yourself, any bottlenecks, anything that's holding you back, just drop it in the comments. Okay, so this is another one that we get quite a lot as well, and it's how to allocate time, right? Because there are so many different marketing strategies, marketing activities, like so many different things that you could be doing, right? Like 1,000,001 different things. The first thing I would always ask here is, or you need to ask yourself really, like honestly, is what stage are you at? Okay, what I mean by that is, do you already have an audience? Because if you do, the answer might be very different to if you don't have an audience. If you're just starting out, or you have a very small audience or very, very small following, your core focus needs to be on acquiring new customers. And I'm gonna frame this, because when I say acquiring new customers, I don't just mean getting customers and then saying bye to them and then getting some more ones and hoping they stick. I mean, it should be on building your audience, building an email list, right? It's still so underestimated, and this baffles me. Like the core focus of any business should be building that email list, because that is data that you own. The thing is with all of these social media platforms, right, whilst they are an incredible place to connect with potential customers, that's not data you own. So if for whatever reason, you know, Facebook was to shut down Instagram, or your account was to get taken down, you've just lost all of your data. You've lost all of your potential customers. So you need to get your customers to a stage, again, like going back to that analogy of the party, you know, social media platforms being the party. You then need to invite these people back to your home and, you know, take their numbers, you know, however you want to look at this, whatever analogy you want to put behind this. But you want to get people to sign up so that they're on your mailing list of some sort, so you can then follow up with them. And that is data that you then own. And the best way to think about this is to offer them some form of lead magnet, some initial entry point offer, whether that be a free video series, a free checklist or guide of some sort, that's going to be extremely valuable and relevant to your audience. A lot of people ask, you know, do these things work anymore, right? Because there's so many people, you know, that have given out free ebooks and stuff in the past. If you're giving out like a, you know, 100-page ebook or white paper, right, that was the thing back in the day, then probably not, quite frankly, right? But it really depends if it's relevant enough to your audience and it's solving a very specific pain that your audience is facing right now. You know, it could be anything. It could be, again, like I give this example we did yesterday, on Wednesday, even when we were going through a yoga website. Could be that if you're serving beginner yoga students, it might be like, you know, the 5 common mistakes that beginner yoga students make, or how to, you know, like think about some things that that person in that mindset would be thinking. What are some of the challenges, anxieties they might have that you could maybe offer them something to solve? So lead magnets absolutely do work, and they are the bread and butter of any lead generation behind the business. You just need to really get clear on giving something that's incredibly valuable for your audience, right? Gone are the days where you can just give out some crap that doesn't really mean anything just to, get someone's email address. You need to be giving people something that's really, really valuable to them, right? So really get into the head of your audience, your customer avatar, and think like, what are the things that are keeping them up at night? What's something I can deliver to them that's going to give them that initial transformation that they need? That first step, because that builds up trust as well. And this is the thing. And then once you can do that over time to build up that audience, you'll then be at a stage where, your priorities then shift. So coming back to the question in terms of time allocation, again, it comes down to what stage you're at. If you don't have much of an audience or enough of an audience just yet, focus pretty much most of your time on that lead generation. Thinking about what you can offer to attract people, like start building those relationships, having one-on-one conversations with people. When you're just starting out, this is so underutilized, but it's so important to have conversations with people, right? Again, using these social media platforms, looking at it from the perspective that it's a party, that you're meeting people, comment on other people's posts. You can't expect people to engage with your content if you're not going to engage with anyone else's. Like, I see this so much, like people just post loads of content, they never engage with anyone else's, and then they wonder why nobody's engaging with their own content, right? It's that reciprocation. Like, you need to be engaged, you need to be involved with the communities that you're looking to serve. So really focus on building those relationships, offering things of value to the stage where you've built up an audience. If you have built up an audience and you've got those systems in place, so maybe you're running ads, maybe you've got some SEO, and that you've got the lead generation thing handled, then you can shift your time onto other things such as, okay, how can I optimize this now? How can I improve the customer journey? So again, in terms of how you allocate your time, it's a difficult question to ask because it's going to vary depending on where you are, but you need to be honest with yourself here, right? There's no point kidding yourself, because I find what happens a lot of the time, and this absolutely happened to us when we first got started out, like those stages where you don't have an audience, it can be quite painful at times, because it's scary, right? Like meeting people, talking to people, and the thought of promoting something or anything like that. But again, like the initial stages, it's just about building that relationship. So try not to get caught up in that too much. But again, be honest with where you are, and then depending on what stage you're at is going to, ultimately decide what you need to be focusing your time and attention on. So do I need to be technical to do SEO? So this is something that comes up quite a lot. A lot of businesses, especially now with everything that's going on, are starting to get really, or pay attention, I should say, to their organic presence, right? Building up some organic strategies. Maybe there's a lot of people that don't want to be spending money on ads right now. So they're looking to, generate more organic presence, organic sales and leads, focus on their SEO. And there is this big thing with SEO that, people are scared that it's too technical, there's too much work involved. So look, there are some technical aspects to SEO, absolutely, but it's not something that's out of reach for people. We've actually got some YouTube videos at this you can check out on our channel, Elevate Digital. We also have a number of blogs on our website with some quick wins from SEO, some of the technical foundations, I should say, that you can get set up to really kind of create a solid platform to be working from an SEO, from an organic perspective. And then after that, like, it's really just about, when it comes to Google, let's say, for example, you're looking to boost your SEO on Google, right? Whilst there are, you might hear these things like there's hundreds of factors that go into the algorithm, and it can sound incredibly daunting to even want to get into it, right? But the truth is, like, pretty much all of these ranking factors that Google introduced come down to just a couple of very, very specific points. Mainly, it's about giving a good experience to the users and also demonstrating, the relevant trust signals. So allowing people to see, allowing Google to see that you are an authority on your chosen topic, and that you're not just posting about all sorts of random stuff, generic, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you need to send the right signals to Google to show you are an authority. And that comes from, again, people talk about backlinks and they get confused about it. A backlink is effectively just a link that somebody has to your site. And again, look at this from the trust perspective. The more people trust you, the more likely they are to link back to your website, to link to your content. This is almost like PR, right? Where you have other businesses or customers linking back to your site, referring back to you. Maybe if you're producing content, people are sharing those pieces of content, right? And linking to them from their own blog. So really focus on creating extremely valuable and helpful content to your particular audience. Think about some of the things that they might be searching for. There are tools you can use like answerthepublic.com, where you can type in any search term or any particular topic, and it will give you a whole list of some of the things people search for, with different types of questions. So like, how can I, or where can I, all of these different things that relate to your specific topic. And that will give you so many ideas and so much inspiration for different content pieces you can write, for videos you can create, for blogs and articles, infographics, whatever it might be. But you have an unlimited amount of information there on your potential customers. And even just by those conversations that you're having right in that initial stage, like we were talking about earlier, social media, or even if you're just speaking to your customers, don't be afraid to ask them, what are some things you're struggling with? Or even like, what were you Googling? Before we started working together, what kind of things were you Googling out of interest? If you've got a relationship with your customers, don't be afraid to ask them this kind of thing, because they will provide some fascinating insights that really allow you to create some extremely valuable content and attract more and more visitors to your site. So again, like in a nutshell, SEO is really just about giving the users an optimal experience, giving any of your visitors a really good experience when they come to your website. Is it easy to navigate? Is your content detailed? Is it answering the questions? If you've got a specific headline, is it relevant? Are you using different keywords related to that topic? Is it varied enough? Does it address the reader's concerns? Like, that's what it all comes down to. And then it's just, there's other things that have been introduced recently, like there's a thing called expertise, authority, and trust, which again, it's just about ensuring that websites can demonstrate they are an authority in their field. And again, this can come from multiple things, such as having people linking back to your website, such as maybe having a little bio about you or your team on the website. Like, that can be extremely valuable, having that transparency and showing that, you are a real person, you are a real business, you have a team, there are people behind it. So things like that can really help on that side of things. But again, try not to get overwhelmed and just think of this as, how can I really deliver as much value to people as possible? Right, that's like the core, the fundamentals of anything SEO or organic related. Right, it's about how much value you can deliver that's specific to a particular audience. Okay, so hopefully that's helped. Again, if you've got any questions, if you're joining just now, feel free to drop them in the comments. If I can't answer them this time, if you're watching on the recording, I'll do my best to get it covered next Friday. Again, we're going to be doing these every Friday at 1 p.m. So, okay, another question that comes up a lot: how much should I pay for ads? This is something that a lot of people get stuck with. It's like, how much is too much? Like, how much should I be spending to get a lead or to get a sale? There is no one size fits all answer to this. It's going to depend completely on your business, and you need to know your numbers within your business, right? You need to know how much a lead is worth to you. You need to know how much a sale is worth to you. For example, if you're running an e-commerce store, you need to factor in, like, okay, what are the margins? Right? What can I profitably afford to spend on an ad? And if it goes let's say, for example, to begin with, if you're spending maybe, I don't know, just over, maybe it's like even double the amount, right, that you wanted to spend, that can still be recoverable. If it's only, a slight amount out of where you want it to be, that doesn't mean you need to turn the ads off. It just means maybe you need to kind of work on optimizing it. If it's like miles, if you're spending like 10 times what you can profitably afford to spend, you're probably best off shutting that ad off and, trying something completely different, trying some different targeting options, a different creative, maybe mixing up the copy. Another thing with paid advertising as well is there needs to be congruency, right? So whatever the ad says, so like Google Ads is a great example, right? If you're targeting specific keywords, you need to make sure that you have different ads for different keywords. So you'll create ad groups. So for example, accountancy, let's say you had different areas. So maybe you had tax advice and maybe you have, bookkeeping, for example. You would want to have an ad for a different ad copy, so different text for each of those keywords you're targeting. And then you would want to have a landing page or a website that also takes people to a section that's specific to that thing. So instead of like having this super specific and targeted ad and then driving them to a, just a generic website that's about accountancy, direct them to a relevant page. Okay, so if that particular ad is about tax, make sure they're landing on a page that is about tax, okay? And you have a specific landing page for that maybe. So really make sure there's a line of congruency throughout, because where people see a disconnect, that's where you'll usually start getting drops in conversion. So make sure you have congruency throughout the ad, from the copy itself, from, to the creative, to the landing page. That whole experience should be congruent, because if it's not, this will also affect both Google and Facebook have something called a quality score. And this can significantly impact your quality score if you don't have that congruency. And then in turn, you're going to get less reach on the ads, and they're just going to, you're just going to throw money down the toilet. So really make sure that you have that congruency there. But then, ultimately, in terms of how much you spend, it's really just going to come down to knowing the numbers in your business. If you're a service-based business and you rely on getting in leads, you need to know, like, okay, what's my average lead to sale, percentage, and really work that out and reverse engineer it to find out how much you can afford to spend to actually get a sale profitably. And here's the crazy thing as well, right? Like if you're a business that's selling a very, very high ticket, high value offer, let's say you're a service-based business and a customer is worth like 20 grand to you, right? Say a 20 grand contract. Maybe like an e-commerce business, they might need to spend their cost per lead or cost per sale might only be £5, right? That might be their, profitability amount. Whereas for somebody who's selling a high value product or service, they can afford to spend a lot more, right? Depending on what your margins are, you might be able to afford to spend up to £1,000 or more just to get one customer. So really think about that. Like make sure you're factoring all the costs and that what your average customer value is. What does that work out over a lifetime? What's your attrition rates? Like if you're a service-based business, again, like how long does a customer typically stay with you for? If they pay monthly, like how many months is that? What does that work out to? You really need to think about all of these things before you even consider running an ad campaign, because if you don't know the numbers going into it, you're going to end up wasting a ton of money. So really think about that before you get into any kind of paid advertising. Have a clear plan, know what your numbers are, and kind of just reverse engineer it from there. And then it will put you in a much better position when you come to testing, because you know what you can afford to spend, and then you know what you need to kind of tweak and optimize over time. So that was it for today, guys. Unless any of you have got any questions that you wanted to ask, doesn't look like anything's come through. So I really hope it's helped. As I say, I'm going to be doing these every Friday at 1 p.m. So if you do want to get your questions answered live, feel free to jump on live. If you're watching this on the replay, drop me a message below in the comments and let me know if you've got any questions, and I will do my best to get them answered on the next one, or feel free to drop me a message directly. And if you guys are watching this on the replay, or if you're watching live and you would like any help or personalized assistance with your marketing and with, increasing your sales, increasing your traffic, and increasing the conversions from your website, make sure you book onto your free digital marketing checkup, where one of our team will go through your website and just find those low-hanging fruits, those opportunities, or finding any potential bottlenecks that might be holding you back, and giving you some suggestions on how you can, change those and take advantage of those quick wins to really taking your results to the next level. So you can find those over at our website, elevate-digital-solutions.com. Just click on book your review. It'll ask you a couple of questions, and then we'll get that done for you. We normally turn them around in about 3 to 4 days, and it's a personalized video, 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll be going through your website in detail, SEO, conversion rate optimization, and really helping you get the most out of your digital presence. So make sure you book onto that if you're really looking to take things to the next level. So again, guys, hope it's helped, and I will speak to you all next Friday at 1 p.m. See you then.